G'day guys, welcome back to another video with Enno here from Fantasy Take TV. Something a bit different, and for the next few weeks will be some World Cup fantasy content, and I've been a little bit slack on the FPL content lately, but do forgive me, I am opened up a lot of free time now for the rest of the year, probably until the end of the year, but obviously with the World Cup being right now, it breaks up the FPL season, and I do like playing these little, Champions League is a bit of fun. It's pretty similar to that, obviously, being tournament football, but with only 3 group games instead of, I believe, 6 in the Champions League, and then obviously to the knockout, so you don't have a real heap of time. But, variance is going to be huge, but it's going to be just a bit of fun to follow and watch some other games you may not obviously be interested, which I think is the whole essence of fantasy in general. It gets you into sports and tournaments and leagues and things you wouldn't normally. So for the World Cup, if you're not a massive fan or you want to get involved, I think this is a good way to do it, and it will be fun learning. We're not going to sit here and pretend like we know a lot of players from a lot of other nations, but it was always fun to learn. And I did play the Euro 2021, which was obviously last year, even though it was 2020. But yeah, I mean, the World Cup starts in 5 days now, so not long to go. I've linked the website down below to sign up, and I'm just going to go through a few rules today that I've pretty much grabbed from their rules and help section, because they're, obviously it's not like FPL being a tournament, and it's not as exact as UCL either. There's a few minor tweaks to scoring and changes, and they've got their own chips or boosters, they call them, as well. So we'll go through those. I will try to keep it short, but there is a few slides because there is a few rules. So future videos as well, I will say, will be the very next video. I'm going to look at fixtures and the predicted lineups for nations and some injuries and stuff, and what we can see there, and players that I think might be of good value for each nation. And I will go through, obviously, more nations than others. We want to target the good ones and go through the fixtures as well. But let's not waste any more time. The first thing and pretty obvious thing you can say when you sign up is there's a 100 mil budget, 15 players for your team, and there's max 3 per nation, similar to FPL, obviously, where there's max 3 per club and whatnot, but that does increase during the knockouts and after the group stages. So, round of 16, you get to 4, 5 for the next round, quarterfinals, then you get 6 for the semis, and then 8 you can have from a team for the final. So obviously that has to happen anyway, because with players getting eliminated in countries and whatnot, that you won't be able to field a team if that wasn't the case. The next set of rules, so there's unlimited changes pretty obviously until the first game kicks off, but a rule that I have put later on, there is a rolling lockout that I will get to and read off pretty much word for word what they've said, that and how that will work. Captain change is a bit different. So with UCL, it's pretty much the same there, in that you can pick one captain, and then because UCL is match days, and we're going to have to get used to that if you're not compared to game weeks. But the match days in UCL are 2. There's 2 every match day, and the games are played across 2 days, and you get to pick a captain from the first game, and if you're not happy with it, you can change it to someone from the second day, and obviously you lose the first one, so you get what you get on the second day. With this, it's the same. You only get to change it once, but the games are spread more across more days, if that makes sense. The first lot of group games are across 4 or 5 days, or I think it's 3 or 4, and then 3 or 4 for round 2 and so on. So you can still only change it once though, and for the first 2 lot of group games, none are at the same time until match day 3, it's called, where they'll play the 2 games in the group at the same time. Obviously, similar to the end of the Premier League season or any league season, that they're at the same time. You don't know the results. It doesn't affect it that way. Teams can't sort of say, oh, we're good now, we can take the foot off the gas, whatnot. They're at the same time in match day 3. But yeah, you still only get 1 captain change per match day. They just have to play at a different time, so that's easy for the group stage, and that'll be easy in the knockouts. But match day 3, that'll be different. You'll have to check that they don't play at the same time. And then there's mid-match day substitutions. So you can actually, if you wanted to, and I'll get to it when I show my team at the end as well, you can flood your team with value and use all your money on your starting 11 and just have a really, not weak but cheap bench, and maybe even not playing players, but the really cheap players, and just put all your money into your starting 11, and then substitutions will just happen automatically, like in FPL. If someone doesn't play, you just get the first bench spot comes on. But you can also play the game like Champions League if you want to as well, which I think is going to be the better strategy anyway. Spread the funds about, around a little bit more and have a couple of decent options off the bench to sub on. You can choose to sub off someone that's already played. Say they get a 1 or 2 pointer, sub them off, get the person off your bench that's going to, have a higher upside, and then at worst probably just score 1 or 2 points himself. And it's a better way to use the full 14 or 15 players, because you can do it with your goalkeeper as well. So I think that's a better way to do it. If you've played Champions League, again, you'll understand that aspect. The next part is the chips. So they're boosters, they call them. Wildcard is one of them. That can be used at any time during the tournament. Obviously not match day 1 because you don't need to. And then not match day 4, which is the change from group stage to knockout, where everyone gets a wildcard anyway. Teams get eliminated, blah, blah, blah. They give you a fresh slate from the knockouts, and then you could use a wildcard in the quarters, semis, whatever. We'll get to more strategy in future videos, but, if teams get knocked out, as I've said previously, you obviously lose the players there because then they've got no more football to play. 12th man, I think, is a really cool one, interesting one, one that you're going to probably want to use in the group stages as well. Basically, you can just pick anyone from the game that's not in your team, and they are your 12th man. They're not even included on your bench. They'll just become your 12th man on field, and they'll score points for you that week, no matter what. Obviously it makes sense. It's, if you're aware of the Limitless chip in UCL, obviously it's nowhere near like that, but you can just pick say for game week 1, I don't choose Mbappe or Neymar or someone like that in my initial team. I can just have him for that week if I want. Probably Mbappe makes sense because they got to ask Australia, unfortunately, and that's a great fixture. And then after that, obviously I won't have him because I think they have Denmark game week 2 or match day 2, should I say. And your 12th man obviously doesn't carry across. So you just use that to get a 12th man. Maybe you want to load up on a team that's got a really easy fixture, have 3 in your team already, and then get a 4th and just absolutely load up and hope they dominate. So that's the way to use that one. And then Power Captain, I think, is a pretty cool one as well. Essentially, just hit the button and you'll get the highest score from whatever player scores the most that week as your captaincy score. So I think that's a good one that we all tend to hate when we get our captaincy wrong. So maybe there's a week where, again, probably match day 1 where Messi has Saudi Arabia. You have an Mbappe who has Australia, and I'm not sure, but again, you can still swap the captaincy over, but maybe just I'll hit the power captain and I'll get the best score no matter what. I don't have to worry about, do I roll? Do I stick the captaincy or not? Say Messi gets an 8-pointer, do you want to switch over to Mbappe or not? You don't have to make that decision. It'll get the best score for you no matter what. And be aware, I did read in the rules at the bottom, they said, once you even just hit the button, for say you hit power captain, you can't reverse it. It'll be on for that game week. So be careful making your decisions there. Next, we'll talk about just some transfer stuff. So obviously pre-tournament, we said you get a limited, but for the match days in between the group stage, you get 2, and you can roll 1 over. So if you wanted to just use 1 at the start of match day 2, then for match day 3, you'll have 3 transfers. So maybe you can set your teams up in a way that that'll suit you and be a good strategy. But beware, I probably would assume we'll use a wild card somewhere in there. So I would just probably use your 2. There's also a 3-point hit instead of a 4-point in like it is in FPL for any additional transfers you want to use. On top of that, as I said, round of 16 unlimited, and then 4, 5 and 6 for the quarters, semi and the final to obviously accommodate lost players and whatnot. As I said, I'm not going to go fully across the rules. It is quite long. I would encourage you to read it yourself. But the rolling lockout is one that I think is really important to know, and pretty much says that it's a mechanic whereby players will only become locked as soon as their team plays. So you can, as I said, change players during match day 1, and rolling lockout helps that. So look, for international people, I mean, like myself in Australia, a lot of games or a few will be overnight, but we'll be able to see lineups and be able to change your team in case someone's not playing. Obviously, only to a player that hasn't still played, of course, as well. But yeah, it's something to think about. And it is really annoying that there's no app at this stage, because it's obviously a lot easier to do it on that. But and then lockout will automatically be lifted once all the fixtures in the match day have concluded. So and you can make transfers actually down the line for the next match day as soon as the current one sort of starts. You can just have to set it up the top. But again, there's a bit to get through, but I'll just quickly go through the scoring. It's the last sort of thing I have, and then there is a few other rules, and stuff to read. But I think I've covered sort of the main ones that you should understand. Obviously, play around with the interface. It's a little bit different, how to sub and all that stuff. Before it starts. But quickly just scoring, you only get 1 point for an appearance for playing 60 minutes, whereas it's obviously 2 in FPL. Every player gets only +3 for an assist, so that doesn't differ between positions. Yellow card, red card, that's the same across everyone, and then own goal as well. And then a good one, I actually think, and I kind of wish it was in FPL, because, you only get the assist for a penalty in that game. If they score it, but for here you get +2 for winning the penalty. So no matter if they score it or not, you're getting those points, and then conceding a penalty is -1. Then we go to the goalkeepers and defenders. So goalkeepers get a clean sheet, and it's funny that goalkeepers' clean sheet is for 70 minutes, not 60, but it probably will never matter. They get a +5. Pretty much for defenders and goalkeepers. Every goal after the first, so if they concede one, that's fine, but every goal after that is a -1. Very funny, a goal scored for a keeper is 9 points. Probably won't ever happen, but it will be hilarious and cool if it does. A penalty save is 3, and then every 3 saves is +1, again, similar to FPL. Clean sheet is +5 as well for defenders, but only 60 minutes, which is normal. Obviously it's more for a clean sheet in this though as well, but yeah, they've sort of added points where they took it off for that extra appearance point, so I don't mind that. I think it's, you get rewarded more for a clean sheet rather than, just playing 60 minutes. But as I said, additional goal conceded -7, and then 7 for a goal for a defender. For midfielders, again, they get a +1 clean sheet point, as they do in FPL. A goal scored is 5. And then some couple of cool ones. Every 3 tackles is +1, and every 2 key passes is +1 as well. So those creative midfielders that may not get the assist, they may still get a point for, every 2 really good passes, and that they might set up their teammates to score, but they don't end up scoring. They still get rewarded. And then the defensive midfielders, obviously, with the tackles, can get rewarded, and someone I will speak about in my team on the next slide. And then forwards get 5 points for a goal, and then 1 point for every 2 shots on target. So those guys that, I don't know if I fully like this one, but I don't think it's going to affect it too much. There may be guys like Harry Kane or, I don't know, Mbappe that just love shooting, and as long as they get on target, every 2 of those will be a point. But, I think you can sometimes farm them, but I don't know. I don't know if there'd be too many points gained from those, but something to think about. Right, if you made it through the 12 minutes, we'll now just quickly speak about my first team, which I've been changing a bit, but I won't speak on it for too long. I'll just explain a couple of my picks. So I've gone for 2 keepers who are in line to start. Obviously, I've looked at some lineups, which we'll get to in my next video, probably tomorrow or the next day. But Diogo Costa for Portugal in goal against Ghana, I like that. And then I've got Sergio Rocher. I don't know how to exactly say it, but that's the man for Uruguay, who is only 4 mil and is in line to start for them as well, with, a decently, it's a middle-of-the-road group. It's not easy, it's not hard, but he's very cheap, and Uruguay tend to be a pretty decent team, so I don't mind that. In defence, Denzel Dumfries has been past fit to play and start, and, obviously, as long as he gets through training in the next few days, which was good. He was under a bit of an injury cloud, and if you played Euro Fantasy in last year for 2020, you remember him being very good and scored a couple of big hauls. And then I can switch over the other side of the defence. Same with Joachim Mæhle, who just plays pretty much left wing for Denmark and is a very pivotal part for them in their attacks, and has a really good goal scoring and assist record for his country. And then Luke Shaw, I just think I want an England defender. Not super set on who it could be. Trippier, if he's starting, and I'm up to know that, I will probably go with him. Or he's also 5 mil, but Luke Shaw, I pretty much just know at this point he's starting. They have no other left back in that team. Whether they play a back 4 or back 5, he'll be in that team. So, Iran the first match day, that's really nice. Rodrigo de Paul, I really like this pick at 5 mil. As I said before, with the defensive stuff for tackles, he'll get involved with that. If you've watched this guy play, that is his bread and butter, but he can also sneak forward and get involved as well. And look, Argentina have quite a few good options going forward. I was thinking about a defender for them as well. Obviously, with Saudi Arabia, I don't think they're going to concede in that game. but I don't mind DePaul as well. And as you can see up top, I've got 2 more of those fellow countrymen for him. Now, the next man who I'm probably going to click on just to get his full name so you guys can see, but Andreas Skov, well, you can't because of that white thing, but it's Olsen. He plays in the front 3 for Denmark and has really played well in recent friendlies. A few goals and assists. He's only 6 mil. I do really like Eriksson as well at 8 mil. And I could have him instead of Saka, as you see next to him. But, you got to play this game for fun sometimes. And Bukayo I haven't even owned in FPL this year once. So I wouldn't mind going for him. Again, I will have to probably find out if he's starting or not. That's not set in stone. But Olsen is a really good option and an enabler at 6 mil. I think he can do damage for Denmark. De Bruyne, I mean, to me, I think he's almost the best primo besides Messi in this game to start with. I think Canada's a really good fixture. Morocco for the first 2, and then I'll probably look at flipping him for Croatia. I mean, you could even have him for that game as well. Just a pivotal point of that Belgium team. Going to play a lot more advanced too in that squad, and I just think he's everything for them. And I think Canada's a really good fixture. Then I've got the 2 Argentina boys up top, Lautaro Martinez, who is a talisman for Argentina. Obviously with Messi, I'll probably still captain Messi, although I am tempted to captain Martinez, mind you, against Saudi Arabia. I think he can get on the end of a couple. And then Neymar against Serbia, who don't have the greatest defence in the world, and they're missing Mitrovic game week for the first match day as well. I'm going to keep saying game week. So I think he's a really good option too. And look, I don't have Mbappe, but I am tempted and thinking about at this point using the 12th man for game week 1 and having Mbappe against Australia as the 12th man. And then because they have Denmark game week 2, I've said it again, I won't obviously have him because I think Denmark are a pretty tough fixture. They've beaten them twice, I believe, in this calendar year in internationals. So on the bench, as I said, the keeper before, I've got Valverde, who I think is just in the best form of his life, one of the best players in the world at the current point in time. He just did recently get injured, but he's fit now. That is also the case with Araujo as well from the same country, Uruguay, who is only 3.5 mil in this game, and if he's fit, will be playing centre-back for them. He was spotted in training, I think, very recently. So, look, he's not a cert to start. It may have to change, and then Sosa will but he'll also play at that fullback position for Croatia, who have a pretty decent set of fixtures as well. So, look, if you've got through all that, thanks for watching. I will be doing a further team updates, and my very next video be fixtures and the predicted lineups for some nations, and we'll look at some options that maybe of some value. I've also got 1 mil in the bank in this team, so this is a quick draft. Very clear teams to target are Argentina. I think Denmark very good for game week 1. I'm going to keep glossing over that. De Bruyne, I think, is one of the best picks. And then England, look, it is England, but they do have a very good fixture against Iran in the first match. So, as always, thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you liked the video, and I will see you on the next one. So, thanks for watching. Cheers.